Thank the Commissioner.
All rise. The District Court of San Andreas come to order. Please welcome Honorable Judge White and Honorable Co-Judge Morales.
Good evening, everybody. The court's now in session. Today we will be hearing case number 21-16344, State of San Andreas versus Francis Marina. Is everyone that is on the list present today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. And defense, I don't believe you had any witnesses, correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic.
That is correct, Your Honor. Sorry.
Fantastic. No worries. All right. So let's begin. Prosecution, would you like to read out the charges today, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The charges are PC 2110, assault, resisting, or impeding DOC officers. Charge 2 is PC 3302, possession of an unregistered firearm.
Thank you. And how does the defendant plead to these charges?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
To all charges?
Bear with me a moment. My client pleads not guilty to PC 110 but pleads guilty to 3302.
And what, in words, which one?
Oh, my apologies. He pleads not guilty to assault, resisting, or impeding DOC officers, but pleads guilty to possession of an unregistered firearm.
Understood, thank you. All right. We'll now move to opening statements. Prosecution, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. On the 27th of August of this year, at 2300 EST, DOC officers Francis and Denton were transporting a prisoner on the Sonora Freeway. They were code 2, which means they had lights flashing. The officers noticed a black sports vehicle speeding towards them, driven by Francis Marina, the defendant. The defendant rammed the DOC vehicle many times, eventually causing it to roll down an embankment where it finished on its side. The officers pressed their panic buttons for support. The two officers, luckily, were not seriously injured. They managed to crawl out and, in fear for their lives, raised weapons to defend themselves and the prisoner. The defendant moved out of his car and towards the officers, ignoring repeated commands to stop. After what had just happened, still in fear for their lives, the two officers opened fire, downing the defendant. The defendant was arrested by Marshal McLane, given medical aid, and searched. The defendant was named as Francis Marina through fingerprints, as Exhibit C shows. An unregistered pistol was found, Exhibit A shows that. The black vehicle used in the attack pictured in Exhibit D, and the registered owner of that vehicle, shown in Exhibit E, one Francis Marina. This callous attack happened as the two officers of this great city were doing their duty. Why Francis Marina wanted to do this, maybe we'll find out today. But he impeded and assaulted with a vehicle DOC officers in the line of duty. He also was found with an unregistered weapon. All the evidence you will see shows that without a doubt, Francis Marina is guilty of both charges. PC 2110, assault, resisting or impeding DOC officers, and as you just heard, he's already pled guilty to the unregistered firearm. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution. Defense, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, and people of the court, today is an unfortunate day that happened in my, going back to August 27th, 2021, that involves my client. Today, with the evidence shown, based on Exhibits A, B, my apologies, Your Honor, real quick. My apologies, I misquoted that, Your Honor. Based on exhibits 1, 2, and all of exhibits 3A through H, we will see. I redact exhibit 2. My apologies, Your Honor. But exhibits 1, 3A through H, we will see that my client was not the heartless criminal that the prosecution is wanting him to look out to be, or whatever it was that they're trying to make him look out to be. More or less, it will be a situation where DOC, it was more or less a concerned citizen who approached a vehicle that flew down a hill and then flipped over repeatedly due to gravity and inertia. With exhibits 3, let's see, 3B, 3C, 3D, you will see, and we will prove today, that my client had no cruel intentions and was more or less a victim of excessive and brutal force exercised by the Department of Corrections on a man who was simply just trying to get back to his car after being hit by a local SUV. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, would the state like to call its first witness?
First, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to suppress exhibits 3 Bravo all the way down to 3 Hotel. They are just random pictures of things on a road.
All right. Defense, would you like to about that motion quickly?
The rebuttal on that, Your Honor, is my client, while still in a state of shock, took me to the exact scene where this occurred. This is not, quote unquote, random debris on the road. This is, other than that, it's just bullets, casings that were found, and my client told me exactly where the vehicle was found and where exactly he was hit. I walked up and down that freeway and found them less than an hour, or a little over an hour after this incident occurred.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may.
Go ahead.
There is nothing to prove anything in these photographs. Who the blood belongs to, who the bullet casings came from. It is not even where they are. It's the pictures of a road with stuff on it. I don't see any relevance that these can bring towards the trial.
If I may I ask something?
Go ahead.
Senor Vanderburg,
Yes, Your Honor.
did you have a chance to check these blood samples at the scene, to make sure that they were your client's blood? Because it looks like that you already went to, or your client already went to LSFD to get the medical reports. However, I don't did you ever get verification that the blood on this scene matches the blood of your client?
No, Your Honor. The problem with that was if you look at the date on the medical report, it's not possible for me to have done that. And probably by the time I would have gotten back to get the blood samples, of which I have no abilities as a civilian to do so, the blood probably would have been already washed away either by rain, by moisture, or what have you, by nature. I only
Alright.
went there as soon as the incident occurred because I wanted to secure the area for the evidence that occurred, and especially since the location matches where prosecution has posted on their docket.
Your Honor, this blood could be from anybody and in any location.
All right.
Can I have a word with you?
Yeah. the court will go into a very short recess while myself and Judge Morales discuss the motion. So the court is now in a short recess.
Ugh.
Bailiff, give us like 30 minutes and then check up on us, right?
Okay.
Hey, Mrs. York.
What?
No.
What?
Hi.
The scene is set up.
Hi.
All rise. The Court of San Andreas
Why
back
don't you
in
down with the
session.
chat?
Honorable Judge White and Honorable Co-Judge Morales presiding.
And Donnie Jackson, present.
All right.
Quiet.
All
Your
right.
Honor,
What?
Your Honor, if I may ask real quick, if it's okay.
What?
I have a hard time understanding why prosecution was only wanting to suppress Bravo through Hotel and not Alpha, since A backs up all the rest.
Well, Mr. Vanderburg, it's his right to motion to whatever one he wants, to be honest. So it doesn't really matter right now. He can. That's up to him to motion to whatever he wants. He could put one of the pictures or all of them or everything. It's he can motion for anything you want. It's completely up to the party that wants to motion. Anywho, we're going to continue with the decision of the motion. So after discussion, me and Judge Morales have decided to accept the motion to suppress from exhibits 3B to 3H. So it's including 3C, 3D, 3E, 3G, 3 and 3H due to the lack of relevancy towards this case due to it being pretty unsubstantiated, just objects on the road. It's so that is why that motion has been accepted. We are going to continue on with the witnesses from the prosecution, with obviously these exhibits suppressed from evidence. So, prosecution, would you like to call your first witness, please?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call. I believe it's Marshal McLane now.
All right.
Your Honor, I can't hear.
I do.
Mr. Bailiff and Mr. McLane, could you just go to this side and then redo it while speaking loud you could?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Your hands up. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Okay.
All right. Prosecution, you may approach the wheel.
Thank you, sir. Marshal McLane, how are you today?
Outstanding, sir. How about you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. Okay, so you were the arresting officer in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you performed the arrest and you performed the arrest. I've just asked that. You've already answered. Did you perform the fingerprint examination on the defendant?
I did.
And can you say that result for me, please?
Yes, the fingerprints came back to Francis Marina.
Sir, did you also check who the vehicle in exhibit apologies, I have a lot of notes. In exhibit D or Delta for you police guys, did you check the owner of that vehicle?
I did.
And that is shown in exhibit E, correct?
That is correct.
And as you can see by the photograph, it is taken on scene.
Yes, Exhibit D is a photograph from Undersheriff Knight of the vehicle in question, and then I believe I provided Exhibit E, the vehicle registration showing it come back to Francis Marina.
Wonderful. So far, you have arrested the defendant, you have identified him, and you've said that this is his vehicle.
Yes.
Upon arrest of the suspect, or I say suspect, defendant, did you provide medical aid for him?
When I arrived on scene, state troopers were already providing medical aid to him, so I was more focused on conducting the on-scene investigation.
Okay, but you did search him once he was arrested, correct? Or
Yes, I
detained,
did.
sorry.
Yes, I did perform a search incident to arrest.
And this is where you found the pistol that Mr. Marina has already pled guilty to, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. That sounds a little leading. The line of questioning. The wording in it.
Could you rephrase prosecution?
I certainly can, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Marshal McLane, did you find a pistol on the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Was this pistol registered?
No, it had no serial number on it.
Okay, there we go. When you looked at the scene, what was the orientation of the DOC vehicle?
When I arrived, the van was on its roof, and it was well off of the roadway.
Were there any other cars around that looked like they were involved?
Yes, there was a two-door black sports car, the one depicted in Exhibit E, was on scene, and I was informed by the DOC officers that that was the vehicle involved in the ramming of their van.
So you took statements from the DOC officers that were involved?
I did.
And they stated in that what did they state in that statement that led you to believe this car was involved?
Your Honor, objection. That is hearsay.
Can you repeat the question for me one more time? I didn't.
I just asked what the statement was from the DOC officer that was stated and recorded by Marshal McLane in the report, Your Honor.
So the his statements in the report, in the docket, my apologies, is that correct?
It is part of the incident report, Your Honor, which I can understand if you don't want to allow.
Well, it was a witness statement. I'm going to allow the question. So the objection is going to be overruled. You continue.
Officer Denton had told me that they were doing a prisoner transport from the city up to the prison, at which point the black sports car on scene started ramming their vehicle multiple times, causing it to roll over.
Objection, Your Honor. I'd like to have that statement stricken from the record, since multiple is not a definitive and absolute number of times. And again,
Your
it's
Honor,
hearsay.
If the counselor would agree that that car struck them more than once, would that class as multiple?
Do you mind working the door? Some people trying to get in.
My apologies. Had a little headache there. So, can you repeat? I had a headache. I did not hear the rebuttal. Can you go ahead and repeat the rebuttal? Yeah.
I basically said, Your Honor, that the objection of hearsay has already been taken care of, and that the officer can only repeat the words said to him, which was multiple. Whether it's countable or not is irrelevant.
It's speculative, Your Honor, and not definitive.
Hey.
I'm gonna let it stay on the record. It's not exact, but it's not like a speculative question. Can't expect everyone to count everything in every situation. If you understand, Counsel, it's kind of be unreasonable with the speculation objection here. So I'm gonna let this stay on the record. We can continue.
No further questions, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank
Defense,
you, man.
go ahead to cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Supervisory Deputy Marshal McLane. And again,
Hello, sir.
congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling today?
Outstanding, sir. How about yourself?
Doing well. Looking over this whole situation here, let's see here. Let me review this real quick here. Okay. My apologies, Your Honor. Okay. Did you... Okay, being as the car was flipped over, how many occupants were in that vehicle?
Inside the DOC van?
DOC. My apologies, yes. The DOC. How many... Let me rephrase the question. How many occupants were inside the upside-down DOC van?
3. There were 2 COs and 1 prisoner.
Okay. Did the DOC officers tell you what direction they were going?
Yes, they were going north.
And what direction was the DOC van facing?
I'd have to review my report and review the evidence real quick if you can give me a moment.
Certainly.
Objection, Your Honor? Relevant?
Defense, you want to rebut?
Yes, Your Honor. The relevance is if the DOC are saying they were heading towards the corrections, naturally the vehicle should be facing north.
Your Honor, I believe the vehicle had just been in quite a horrific crash. The way it landed is random.
Yeah, I'm gonna sustain that. Do you ask the next question, please?
McLane, if I may address you as such.
Yes, sir.
Did anyone bother to check on the occupant of the prisoner?
Yes.
Who checked on the prisoner?
One of the other members that was on scene, one of the state troopers, I believe, and then he was put into someone else's custody to be taken up to the prison.
Okay. Do you believe or do you know for certain?
I know for certain that someone on scene, I don't know who, was dealing with the prisoner.
Objection against, Your Honor, relevance.
Well, Your Honor, the the prisoner was inside the van. Of course, the safety and the actual condition of that prisoner does matter, as does every other DOC member in that vehicle.
Well, while I agree with you, they matter in general. What relevancy does it have to this case regarding your client and the charge of impeding DOC officers?
Just for the concerns and understanding of what the condition of that person was in and who was the priority in the situation.
I'm going to sustain this objection again. Mr. Vanderburg, please focus on the charges at hand and ask questions relevant to that. Although I hope everyone in the situation ended up okay, we're not here to discuss the matter. We're here to discuss the charge of impeding, geez, my blanket, sorry. The charge presented against your client today.
Very well, Your Honor. McLane, did you bother to look around the scene for any signs of casings?
Yes.
Did you find any?
Yes.
Okay. Did you check those casings?
No.
Why didn't you check the casings?
Because they were completely irrelevant to the case at hand. The DOC officers never stated that the suspect fired. DOC stated that they fired at the suspect. And since they weren't relevant to the criminal charges against the defendant that I was pursuing, I did not see fit to collect them.
Okay. Was there blood on the scene?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. The Department of Corrections has already stated that they shot the defendant.
Your Honor, it's best to hear it from the witnesses themselves, verbally, for the court's record, as opposed to something written.
Yeah, I'll overrule the objection. You can continue.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sorry, prosecution, you'd like to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Marshal McLane, you can step down. Thank
Yes,
you.
Your Honor.
Prosecution, would you like to call your next witness, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
We call DOC Officer Richard Francis.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Prosecution, you may approach the wheel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Francis.
Yes, sir.
No relation, I hope.
No, sir.
Okay. Just thought I'd check. How are you?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Okay, so if you can cast your mind back to the 27th of August, 2021, and the incident at hand. Were you transporting a prisoner to Bolingbrook Penitentiary?
Yes, we were, sir.
Okay, and I see in your statements that to Officer McLane that you saw a two-door black sports car approaching at speed?
Correct, yes.
And I hope you have a copy of the evidence.
Yeah, I can pull it up on my phone.
Please do. I'm just going to check which one it is. I believe it's Delta. Let me just check. Yes, Exhibit Delta. Is that the car that you saw?
Let me look. Just give me 1 second. I apologize.
Hey, no worries.
Correct. That is the car.
You've also stated to Marshal McLane that this car struck your DOC vehicle?
Correct. Yeah.
Can you actually recall how many times it struck you?
Right after the crash, I couldn't remember, but I believe it was 5 or 6 before we were forced off the road.
Objection, Your Honor. That's a speculative answer.
I'll rephrase the question, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Do you believe that, or do you know that the car was striking your vehicle to get you off the road?
Yes.
There's no doubt in your mind that this car was trying to take you off the road.
Objection, Your Honor, sir. Objection, Your Honor. That's asked and answered.
Okay, so we'll take that as a yes. I'll take that.
Hold on. Would you like to rebut to that, or do you want to withdraw the question?
If the defense is saying it's answered with a yes and he's happy with that, then I'm happy with that too.
So,
I will ask another question if I may.
all right, go ahead.
So, as you have said, your vehicle went down an embankment, across 2 lanes of traffic, and landed on its side, or on its roof. Is that correct?
Correct.
What were your actions as soon as you realized what had happened?
After we were flipped over,
Objection, Your Honor. It's a narrative.
Okay. I'll just rephrase the question, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Once you had realized that the vehicle was upside down, did you then leave the vehicle?
we crawled on top of the vehicle and pulled out our weapons. Yes.
Why did you pull out your weapon?
Fear of my life, fear of my inmate's life, and fear of my coworker's life.
So you pulled your weapon, shall we say, to protect yourself and the inmate that was in your care?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Sustained.
I will ask that in a different way. Actually, I don't need to. You've already answered it. So, you saw the defendant, Francis Marina, approaching your vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell him to stop coming towards you?
Multiple times, yes.
How many times? Do you remember?
5. More than 5.
Is it 5 or more than 5?
I want to say more than 5.
So you asked him more than 5 times to stop, in fear for your life, being as you've been thrown over already. What did you do next?
Objection, Your Honor. Narrative.
Did you shoot the defendant to stop him approaching you?
Yes, I did.
Was the defendant downed?
Yes, he was.
Okay, no more questions.
Thank you. All right. Defense, would you like to approach the whale?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello there, DOC officer. Francis, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right. Now then, based on where given Exhibit 3A, is that where your transport was flipped over? Sorry, let me rephrase that. In Exhibit 3A, where I marked where your transport was, is that where it landed?
Correct.
Okay. What direction was your vehicle facing?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Mr. Vanderburg.
Just want relevances to find out about the vehicle, Your Honor.
What? One more time?
I withdraw the question, Your Honor.
All right, that's fine. You can continue.
Okay. What weapon were you armed with?
I was armed with a AR.
Oh, come again?
I was armed with an assault rifle, sir.
Okay. All right. You told the court today that you told my client more than 5 times to back away from you.
Objection, asked, unanswered.
Mr. Vanderburg.
It's a clarification, Your Honor.
Asked, unanswered.
Gonna sustain the objection.
Okay. Let me ask a different way. Okay. Did you shoot at my client before you yelled at him? I remind you, you are under oath and penalty of perjury.
Um, um, can you rephrase or?
Okay. Did you tell my client to back away as you were shooting at him?
Yes.
Okay. Were you armed also with a taser?
Yes.
Did my client show he had a gun on him?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Prosecution, would you like to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Officer Francis,
Yes, sir.
did you tell the defendant to stop before you shot him?
Yes.
How many times did you tell him before you shot him?
It was a rush of the moment, and I'm sure it was 3 times.
But you kept repeating the order.
Yes,
As
sir.
you said it 5 or 6 times. Okay.
That's what I'm trained to do, sir. Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Ron.
All right, thank you. You can step down, Mr. Francis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we continue to the next witness, I would like to make a quick 10 to 15 minute recess. Something very quick thing I need to complete. However,
You might as well just go ahead and do it for the rest of the tsunami. You have 15 minutes.
actually, yeah, I'm just gonna do a recess and then we're gonna resume after the tsunami. But is anyone extremely time limited? Is anyone not gonna be able to show up after the tsunami storm?
Counselors, are you going to be able to appear after the storm?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and all the witnesses as well. If they could just confirm.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll be here.
All right,
Yes, sir.
and is that the last witness you have, prosecution?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, fantastic. Then we will be in recess until the storm. I apologize about the delay, but stuff does happen. So we are now in recess until after the storm.
You ready to get started? All rise. The District Court of San Andreas is back in session. The Honorable Judge White presiding.
All right. Is the last witness present, prosecution, or is he still waking up?
Not as yet, Your Honor. I'm hoping he'll be here very shortly.
All right, that's fine. We'll continue recess a couple minutes while he arrives. And defense, you don't have any coming, right? There's no witnesses.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. All right, the court will be in recess a few more minutes.
All rise. District Court of San Andreas will be back in session. Honorable Judge White and Honorable Co-Judge Morales presiding.
Alrighty. So the witness is now here, correct, Mr. Mr. Haugensen?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, fantastic. Go ahead and call your next witness.
The state calls DOC Officer Jaycob Denton.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, Nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Turn around and have a seat.
All right, prosecution, you may proceed.
Permission to approach, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Officer Denton, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
What I'd like you to do is try and recall the events of the 27th of August of this year. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay. On the day in question, were you partnered with Officer Francis?
I was, yep.
Were you transporting a prisoner to Bolingbroke?
We were, yep.
Did you notice the before mentioned black sports car approaching your vehicle?
I did, yep.
Is the vehicle in question in Exhibit D?
Give me a second to
Yeah, no
sure.
worries.
It is.
Do you recall how many times that vehicle struck your DOC vehicle?
At least 5.
Did this vehicle cause you to leave the carriageway and crash?
It did, yep.
Was your DOC vehicle upside down as a result of this?
It was.
I know you managed to get out of the vehicle. Did you pull your weapon?
I did, yep.
Can you tell me why?
I was in fear for my life, as well as the inmate's life that was in the back of the vehicle, and as well as my other DOC officer, Francis, as he had already struck us multiple times at that time.
Okay. And the defendant here, you recognize him from that event?
I do, yep.
So, as we have heard, the defendant came towards you, correct?
He did, yes.
Did you tell the defendant to stop?
I did.
Did you? How many times did you tell the defendant to stop?
Once.
Did you fire at the defendant?
I did.
Was it before or after the warning?
It was after.
Give me just a second.
Sure.
What were you armed with?
I was armed with my duty-issued firearm, which was a pistol.
Okay. Do you recall how many times you fired?
At the subject?
Yes, sir.
3. And then there was another...
Did you? Okay.
Go ahead.
Did you fire at anyone else?
Yes, I did.
Who else did you fire at?
I fired at a local that was enraged by the gunfire.
Did your partner, Officer Francis, also fire?
Not at the local.
Okay.
I had taken him down before.
Okay. No further questions at this time, Ron.
Thank you. Defense, would you like to approach Cross?
Yes, yes, Your Honor. Hello there, DOC Officer Denton. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. And if you don't mind, may I call you just Denton?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Denton, how long have you served with the Department of Corrections?
I have been with the corrections, I believe, for about a month and a half now.
Do you know for sure?
If you're asking the exact date of when I was hired, I do not.
Okay, never mind then. Okay. Are you properly trained on how to handle a vehicle?
I am.
Okay. Now, you told the court that my client. Actually, let me rephrase that. Were you the driver of the van?
I was not.
Did you have a taser?
I did.
Okay. And for clarification for the court, being you said that, or being it was said that my client ran towards you, did he go towards the van or his car? Or actually, let me phrase that. That's a compound question. My apologies, Your Honor. Did my client run towards directly towards your van?
He ran towards where we were stationed, yes.
That's not what I asked.
Okay, can you repeat the question then?
Did my client run directly towards the van? That means he was beelining. That means he was. And remember, you're under the oath of penalty of perjury.
Of course.
Did he run towards the van directly?
Yes.
Did my client move towards his car?
No.
Did my client actually was my client struck by an SUV?
I am unsure.
Okay. Let's see. Given with exhibit. Oh, actually, hold on here. Okay. Given with exhibit 3, where I took a picture, or where it shows on the dot, where it says where 9mm shell casings and blood were discovered up on the hill from the DOC transport was flipped. Is that where you
Objection,
were
Your Honor. There is no proof of that blood belonging to anybody.
Your Honor, may I rebuttal?
Can you repeat the question first?
Yes. I was just paraphrasing from what it says on the evidence. Where the 9mm shell casings and blood were discovered up on the hill from the DOC transport was flipped. I was going to ask, was that where he was standing?
Here. Hold on. Where?
Exhibit 3A.
Where does the blood come into this?
I'm just quoting so he knows which dot I'm referring to.
You're referring to
A dot on the map, Your Honor. That's how I labeled it.
one more time. Sorry, repeat the question. I'm bit
Okay.
off with it.
Where the 9mm shell casings and blood were discovered up on the hill from where the DLC transport was flipped. Again, that's how I marked it on 3A, that you did not suppress, or that was not suppressed. That's just how I labeled it. I was asking the officer, was that where he was positioned?
All right. Well, the objection was there's no way to know whose blood that was. Can you object? What's the objection?
Yeah, that's what he was asking. That's what he was.
I retract the objection.
All right, that's fine. You can continue.
All right. Do you need me to repeat the question, Denton?
Yes, please.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit 3A,
Your
the
Honor,
dot.
objection.
What is it?
I'm objecting to basically asking for a specific location on not really a very well drawn map, to be honest. It's hard to tell where anything is on there.
You like to rebut?
Yes, Your Honor. That's literally on the side of the road there, where again my client took me, and again, prosecution failed to suppress this evidence. So I am asking that because that is where I took the pictures. But because exhibits B through H are suppressed, which corroborate with that picture, I just have to ask on that little blip on the map.
All right.
Your Honor, I would like to motion to suppress this exhibit now because there are no measurements from the road, no names on the road, and it is very difficult for the officer to answer a question based on random dots drawn by someone that was not there.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm taken there by my client, so I don't know what the problem is, and I would like to object to, or I'd like to say that 3A is already here. We're already close towards the end of trial, or we're at the last witness.
Your Honor,
I don't
it's the
know
first
why.
time he has actually tried to use this exhibit.
No,
No,
it's not.
All right. All right. I will call a short recess while me and Judge Morales debate the motion and the objection that relates to it, and we will come out with the decision. All right? Court is in the short recess.
Frega. This wouldn't be an issue if Judge Bodie was presiding.
Take that booty.
I try.
All rise. District Court of San Andreas back in session. Honorable Judge White and Honorable Co-Judge Morales presiding over.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I may remind the courts, being as we are in the Department of Justice of the United States, that the rules of motions to suppress are made in advance and pretrial motions as stated by Rule 41H of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedures, and also abide by the Fourth and Sixth Amendment of the United States.
Thank you for the reminder, Mr. Vanderburg. The court, I'll now, let me just get my clipboard. All right, there we go. So on the motion to dismiss 3A, we're going to be denying it due to the point in time it was brought up in the trial. So you may proceed with the questioning, Mr. Vanderburg.
Thank you, Your Honor. All righty then. Once again, Denton. On Exhibit 3A, where 9mm, again, this is just the name of the place, where 9mm shell casings and blood were discovered up on the hill from the DLC transport was flipped. Again, McLane acknowledged that's where it was. Is that blip up there where that marking is noted? Is that where you were?
I'm not sure how to answer this just because I'm not. Are you wanting the exact location of where I was, or just a rough if I was in that area?
If you're in that area, being that blip is within a 5 to 10 meter radius of its size.
Okay. Yeah, we could say it'd be in that area. Yep.
Okay. Actually, Your Honor, how many times did Denton say he shot at the client? I'm asking you, Your Honor, being it was already asked, and I don't need to ask him again. I want clarification.
We just get the record.
Sorry, are you?
Not you, Denton. No, because I can't ask you. I wanted to, because it was already noted.
So you're asking from the court record how many times Officer Denton shot?
His pistol, he said.
3 times towards the subject, is what the record says.
Thank you for reminding me, Your Honor. Okay. Denton, you said you shot my client 3 times with your service issue pistol. Okay. Did, as what Francis had said as well, did you shoot at my client as he was, my apologies, Your Honor. The question is, did you shoot at my client and never mind, Your Honor, I retract that question. Being as I can't figure out a way to say the question, Your Honor, right? I believe, did I ask if he had a taser, Your Honor? My apologies, because the whole recess and
yes.
Objection and rebuttal. Okay, just want to make sure, because that all kind of threw me off there.
It's all right.
Alrighty then. Did my client get out of his vehicle to approach your van?
Objection, asked and answered.
I didn't ask if he got out of his car to approach the van, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he did ask if he approached the van, and that has been answered.
No, I asked if he was moving directly towards. That means in a different sense, Your Honor.
All right. I'll allow it. This it'll be overruled. You can continue.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. Did my client get out of the vehicle then immediately move towards you?
Yes.
Okay. Given with Exhibit 1, did it... let's see here. And being as you did say you shot at my client, did you aim for his legs?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance?
It's in cooperation, Your Honor, with Exhibit 1, being as my client had to have pins and bolts and pins put in his knees.
What's the relevancy to the charges, Mr. Vanderburg?
It's for the fact is he was shot at. I'm just trying to get at this to have clarification.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Ask a different question.
Okay. Was my client the only one supposedly involved in this ramming of your vehicle?
No.
Oh. Was there another vehicle involved in this situation?
There was another vehicle spotted in the area.
Okay.
I wouldn't actually. Okay.
Did my client at any point from when you first met him shoot at you?
Nope.
He did not shoot at you from his car?
No.
Okay. Were you shot at all while on the road?
Yes.
Who shot at you?
A local.
Was this after you flipped?
Yes.
Okay. You were not shot before you ran off the road?
No.
And as a reminder, once again, you're under oath, penalty of perjury.
Of course.
There was no other vehicle that pursued your DOC transport during the time of wherever you left to wherever you ended.
There was a black and color sports car that was seen approaching the back of the van. Upon us being rammed, he continued north down the road past the prison.
So it was just a sports car?
A sports bike.
Oh, there's a bike now involved.
Like a sports bike, I guess they would call it.
It's very interesting. Okay. Bear with me one moment, Your Honor, because this opens up a new situation. The sports bike was not mentioned in your statement.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance?
Your Honor, this is in relevance to the case of him being, my client being accused. Now, in order for that to be the situation, he had to be the initiate of this situation. I'm trying to get to something.
Your Honor, both
Yeah, we're trying
officers
to-
have stated that the defendant used his vehicle to crash multiple times into the DOC vehicle. The bike
Your Honor,
did not.
but Your Honor, there was a motorcycle that was also involved in this situation. That's what I'm trying to get to get clarification.
Oh, okay. Just try to explain to me what relevance the motorbike has to this charge.
Well, for the fact is that the officer is trying to lead towards that this sports bike was also following them. Very close, as he said.
Sure. What's the relevance to this case?
Putting
that
into
much?
question the initial charge, Your Honor, as it could be that this could be wrongful charge and should have been aiding and abetting. That's what I'm trying to get at, Your Honor. Rather than directly involved, he was just aiding. Being that this motorcycle was before, from what I'm understanding.
No.
All right. You can continue with that line of question. I'll overrule that objection.
Okay. When did this sports bike approach your car? Or your transport, my apologies.
The sports bike never approached our transport. He was probably, I don't know, 500 feet back. We were just passing the fork in the road, and the sports bike was noticed far back before we saw the vehicle.
Okay. Then why bring it up?
Objection, Your Honor. The defense brought it up.
No, Your Honor, he did. Denton brought up a sports bike.
I'm gonna overrule the objection. It's not really objectable to in this situation, so you can continue.
Yes. Okay. What significance did this sports bike have?
We're always trained to keep a lookout of our surroundings, and you asked if there was another vehicle that was seen, and that was a vehicle that was seen high rates of speed, which is one of the major signs or major red flags of a attempted jailbreak or of something that's going to happen.
Okay. All right then. So, being you're an officer of the law,
I am.
do you know when it is necessary to use your taser?
I do.
Okay. So given with the actions that have been noted in this court by you and Francis, why didn't either of you pull out your taser?
We had already been assaulted multiple times by a deadly weapon, which would be his vehicle. And if with that in mind, I still feared for my life.
So you're saying you'd rather shoot at a person rather than his car?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
The use of force is not in question here. The crimes are.
Your Honor, may I rebut?
Go ahead.
The fact is that, given with officers, they should know when to use deadly force and not to. And with this vehicle, that's what I'm trying to say, is that he was not in his vehicle still.
Mr.
May I say something? I don't mean to.
Go ahead, Judge Morales.
I can't hear, Your Honor.
He can't hear.
Senior Vanderburg, I sit here and listen to your entire court case so far, and all of your questions for every single witness seems to be more so congruent for a civil case as opposed to a criminal case. I would ask that you please keep your line of questioning more so suited to a criminal case as opposed to a civil case.
Your Honor, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to point out the fact is that it's showing more excessive force rather than
And excessive
necessary.
force has no bearing on a criminal court case.
So two wrongs make a right.
No, Mr. Vanderburg, the force that they used has no relevance on the current charge that we're in court debating. So the objection for the relevance will be sustained. Please move on to a different line of question and stay away from, my apologies. 1 second.
Is he playing Candy Crush back there?
All right, sorry about that. So it will be sustained, and please keep away from speaking about matters that are not relevant to this court case. The use of force and whatever happened is not relevant to this court case. Relevant to the charges that we are in this court case to hear about. All right.
If that is the statter that wishes to continue, yes, Your Honor.
Good. You may proceed.
Actually, Your Honor, with that in mind, being that I'm being held back on some things here that should point to relevance and clarification, I have no further questions, being as I'm being restrained from it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vanderburg. Would the state like to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Officer Denton.
Yes.
The motorbiking question that the defense brought up, was that any way involved in what happened with the defendant?
No, it was not.
No further questions, Ron.
Can you repeat that one more time? I apologize. I did it.
Yes, Your Honor. I asked if the motorbiking question was anything to do with the actions of the defendant.
What was your answer, Mr. Denton?
It was no, it did not.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry about that. All right, you may step down, Mr. Denton.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, that is all the witnesses that are on the list. Is that correct?
The prosecution rests, Your Honor. Oh, we finished witnesses and things, yes. Sir.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. Defense, you have no witnesses to call, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. Defense rests.
Thank you. All right, we will proceed to closing statements. Is everyone prepared, or would anyone like a very short recess?
Prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Defense?
Defense is ready.
All right, fantastic. We're going to proceed to closing statements. Prosecution, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense has tried in every way to show that the defendant is a bystander, which we have proven he is not. The defense has also asked questions of force used, which is not in question. The officer also had just been attacked by a vehicle trying to severely injure them. They responded to protect themselves and the prisoner in fear of their lives. The response by the officers does not detract from the assault by the defendant using a vehicle, which is a deadly weapon, to intentionally stop and cause a collision of the DOC vehicle. The prosecution has proven that through testimony and evidence that Francis Marina, without a doubt, intentionally forced the DOC vehicle containing the two officers and their charge off the road, causing it to flip, endangering the lives of all occupants. Exhibit 1 from the defense shows a medical report, which has not been related to that much, but the doctor states the patient was shot in the chest previously and hit with a car doing 60, which there's no evidence of. The doctor also states that the defendant saw another medic. There were no prior records for me to use as a baseline, which means this exhibit shows nothing except a guess, I suppose. The DOC has a hard job, a job that puts them every day in contact with criminals. This can be a thankless task and a forgotten task, but without these brave officers, these criminals would be out on the streets. We need to protect them as they go about their duty by punishing those that try to impede and assault them. The state has proven Francis Marina is guilty of all charges. Now, ironically, he should be put into the care of those he attacked. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution. Defense, you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may approach the well.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Your Honor, and people of the court, or my apologies, Your Honors, people of the court, today, despite what prosecution has tried to make what has seemed extreme in their eyes, and for the fact is that no evidence has shown that the vehicle was actually struck. We're just going off the words of people. No video, no body cam, no nothing. Just words, which, again, we're looking at something all the way back, which falls under human folly of memory. People in shock have a hard time remembering things. And I would like to remind it that this court is to look at this and to understand that despite what had happened, with a vehicle just running off the road and out of control, flips itself, because again, no evidence shows that my client actually caused the flip itself. We're just going off of human word. This is a law of justice, not law of man, mind you. Exhibit 1 is basically what was the result of it, because we only have 2 doctors in this state that can actually examine people. EMTs, medics, can't prescribe drugs as high as hydrocodone. My client, I had reached out to many times to try to get an appointment, and every time he emailed me back, he's tried, and it has been no success. He was only able to get a doctor on the date on that note, September the 6th at 1 in the morning Eastern time. I understand that that was 9 days after the fact, but my client was suffering in the time, as shown in the notations that my client had fluid in his lungs from bullets, bone fragments from bullets. And my client had been in his house the whole entire time, from my understanding in this, and trying to get a hold of a doctor. Going back to the situation, my client had just pulled up to a scene of which a vehicle was flipped on. Though he was going off the statement of 2 people who decided to use, instead of their tasers, used the gun to mercilessly gun down my client. And the prosecution is trying to justify that as a means to incriminate my client and put him as guilty, rather than, Your Honors, I'm just trying to point out the fact is, in what system do we allow 2 wrongs to make a right in this situation? The fact is that my client was gunned down. He was gunned down, as by the statement of DOC Officer Francis, they gunned him down as they told him to get away. Now, what person, while being shot at by a 5.56 rifle and a 9mm pistol, can reasonably get away from a vehicle without falling to nearly dying at the scene? My client is fortunate to be alive today, and for as far as I'm aware, be on oxygen because he can't breathe properly. If he was shot in his chest, we all should know his diaphragm was punctured, and that's how it allows your lungs to expand and deflate. Your Honors, I'm asking the mercy be brought upon my client. Again, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Yes, my client was in possession of an unregistered pistol, but it was shown by the testimony of the 2 officers that he did not have his gun out, or by Francis, he said he did not have a gun drawn. My client never had a gun. And at any point, I could understand if they wanted to use the gun against his vehicle, but they used it on him. My client told me he was making his way towards his car when he was gunned down. Yet officers want to make it look like he was charging them with no gun visible. What reasonable person would charge a car with no gun out if he was trying to do any ill intent? I'm asking Your Honors to appeal to the humanity in this situation and the moral grounds of which this stands. Yes, my client was in possession of a firearm he shouldn't have, and it didn't belong to him. But we shouldn't condone this because your decisions today can impact the future of how such a crime can be dealt with. By saying my client is guilty, this is literally saying, DOC officers, you can gun down anyone who tries to approach your car with a lethal force. And not try to move away or try to push them back. There were two people on one. My client had no reason to move towards that car when he was just trying to get away himself, but was gunned down before he could. That is all, Your Honors.
Thank you, defense. The court will go into a short recess while myself and
All rise. The District Court of San Andreas is back in session. Honorable Judge White, Honorable Judge Co-Judge Morales, presiding.
I think you're whispering.
all right. We have returned with a
West
verdict.
Blanco, hold on.
One moment.
Sorry. All rise. The District Court of San Andreas back in session. Honorable Judge White and Honorable Co-Judge Morales presiding.
All right. We have returned with a verdict, so I'm not going to read that out. In case number 21-16344, the State of San Andreas versus Francis Marina, on the charge of one-time impeding let me just get it exactly, assaulting, resisting, or impeding Department of Corrections officers. The court finds the defendant guilty. In the other charge of possession of an unregistered firearm, this already pled guilty, so we'll move on to sentencing. Before we move on to sentencing, I just want to state this, and I think there's some confusion here. So the use of force, etc., all that has is not part of the verdict or anything to do with the charge. So the court did not factor any of that in. I just want to explain that. It will also be posted on the summation on the docket. There are other legal ways to go about that stuff. We're not here to hear anything about that. Moving on. Proceeding to sentencing. Prosecution, do you have any recommendation?
Your Honor, the defendant was released on ROR, so no fines or time has been served. And it's by the sources 25 months and $5,500 fine, Your Honor.
All right. Would the defense like to say anything?
Yes, Your Honor, I do want to say a couple things. In regards to my statements and questions and borderline arguing with you, Your Honors, I will admit mea culpa, or my error on that, and I ask for your forgiveness. As far as sentencing goes, Your Honor, please take a look at my client. He is on a respirator. If he has to serve time, let him be under house arrest or be put on parole. My client could be at risk of being assaulted by other inmates, and by such, if he is sentenced to jail, whatever happens to him, if he dies in prison from being with his oxygen machine being taken away from him and assaulted by other inmates, that his death will be on the DOC's hands. And I ask that he just be placed under parole for 1 year, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, defense. After hearing both sides, the court is going to sentence the defendant, Francis Marina, to 5 months in the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, as well as a $5,500 fine. I'm sure the Department of Corrections will keep him safe and with all his medical needs that are expressly needed to that he needs and are, advised by medical professionals. That is all. The summation will be on the docket shortly. This court is adjourned and matter is finished.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh. Okay, officer.
Yes, sir.
What is your rank? As
CO2.
far as. Oh, okay, are you in a commanding position?
No one here is command.
We're
He's-
not
He's
command.
going to be taken into custody.
I would be
Okay.
the next in charge, next highest, the only one
Okay.
on duty.
Can you ensure this gentleman is put in a separate cell and not any open courtyard cells?
Oh
like
yeah,
any
no, I'll lock him.
Okay.
I'll lock him in his own cell. That's no problem.
Okay, in a solitary cell, so that way he doesn't suffer
Yeah,
any
yeah.
inhumanities.
No, I understand fully. I do, and he'll be safe.
I have a feedback to that. If you're open to it, we can hold him in the courtroom cell for his 25 months.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, is that okay with you then?
I'm okay with it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Haugensen.
Can you turn around? I just got to put you in handcuffs to go down, man. I'm sorry.
All right, just be careful with his ribs.
It's not needed.
I will. I'll be
Okay.
honest. We'll be
Just
all
search
right.
him and walk him down. That's
Okay,
fine.
let's just search him. We're not going to cuff him.
He's
Thank you, Miss.
suffered enough.
Thank you, District Attorney.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, here. I'll be gentle on you. I don't want to cause you any pain, man. And I'm sorry, I did take your radio and your phone. I will give them right back to you as soon as we walk back out of the cell.
Okay.
Okay. You want to lead down, Francis? I'll follow.
I would make sure he has somewhere to sit because his knees.
Yeah, no, yeah, he'll
The
be
cells
taken
are
care of.
quite
I
plush
promise.
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll promise. He'll be taken
Yeah,
care of.
Yeah, I've never been down to those cells, but if you say they are,
They're nice.
Marshal or Deputy Marshal, then that's fine. Yeah, I'll be.
Edward,
Yeah, they're
be
pretty
my
good
guest. Go
cells.
down and have a look.
Oh no, it's fine. I trust him.